Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon.
I'm Q.
And welcome to the first Angry Old Dudes podcast. We're going to do a quick introduction of who we are, though most of our first listeners will probably already know full well who we are. I'm 26, born and raised in Cincinnati, in and out of bands that didn't matter. I am very passionate about music. I record music, and I love to argue with people because that's the way I was raised.
I'm Q. I've lived in Cincinnati my whole life. I've booked shows technically since I was 12, but realistically since I was 17. We will do a realistically count for every episode. For anyone that knows me knows I say realistically, logistically, in any Cali's way too often.
We'll make the previous weeks count at the beginning of every week.
So, like I said, I've been booking shows. I did shows at my house for 8.5 years. I've been working on getting a venue since I was 18. I'm now 32. So, obviously, one of the things that we also will be doing with this podcast is trying to alert and let people be aware of what we're trying to do. We have found a building. We're just trying to get all the issues taken care of to be able to secure the building and basically where I can live in it and it could be a basement type place again, even though it's a storefront. And this podcast is going to be mostly me and Brandon arguing because there is a 5-year difference between us, and we definitely grew up in different parts of music, and we have different feelings about different things, but we all both love it, and everything musically is a matter of opinion. So I'd like to say when I sound like an asshole, I'd like to say it's not because I'm an asshole, I'm just opinionated, but I really am an asshole.
I'm not apologizing for shit ever, so
I mean,
I get used to that.
Exactly. If you're listening, then you're either going to enjoy what we say or hate what we say, but probably still listen anyways.
Which brings us to the top of our itinerary here, the local bulletin board. I make a lot of show flyers for shows around town. Q books a lot of the shows around town, and if he's not booking it, he's generally there. We kind of have our fingers in just about everything. We know what's going on, so we will make a point to at least attempt to cover what's going on in the coming weeks, who's coming around, that sort of thing. And with that said, what is coming up?
Let's see. What is today?
Today's the 25th.
The 25th of June.
June.
This Friday? Is Friday the 27th? Or is that Saturday?
Tomorrow's Friday. So the 26th.
So the June 27th at the Backstage Cafe, Time Bomb from New Jersey, War Crimes, I'm not sure where they're from, Killing Session, and Push Off will be playing at the Backstage Cafe. It is a hardcore show. Killing Session is obviously, for most people that do listen to them, a thrash band.
Local thrash band.
Local thrash band. Time Bomb and War Crimes are the touring bands, and I believe that show is $5 or $8. I don't have it. It is an 18 and up show. That is one of the things negative, I would say, impactfully about our city is most bar shows are 18 and up, which is why we would like to open up a place that is able to be all ages. One of the things clearly that we will talk about in this podcast and should be brought up now is the fact that most of my friends are straight edge. I am not.
I am.
Brandon is.
10 years. Over 10 years, actually.
So, most of the kids and adults that come to our shows don't drink. So it's really hard to get a bar show where you're doing $5 at the bar, even if there is 150 people at a show. Yeah.
We're straying off point. What else is coming up?
What else is coming up? We'll have another podcast before these shows come up, but obviously get them fresh in your head. July 3rd at the Side Central.
Which is in
Over the Rhine on Central. It's not on Parkway. It's Central Avenue, which is right off Central Parkway. The The show on July 3rd is Fuck You Pay Me, an old Cleveland hardcore band that is recently back together. They will be playing This Is Hardcore, but before that they are playing here in Cincinnati. And then the following day is Drown from Texas, which is one of my current favorite newer favorite hardcore bands. Point Blank from Florida. The locals for that are Damaged Goods, Mad World, and Abduction, I believe, is playing. So definitely check that out. The show's $6. Side Central shows are early shows. They usually start about 7 o'clock and are usually done by 10. So you have plenty of other things able to do. And those are from the hardcore side of things.
We've also
shows.
got Rockstar Pro June 30th. Phineas is doing a CD release tour for their new record. With, I'm looking at my calendar, Darkness Divided, Locals, Eternal Void, the AKO Vendetta, which was formerly known as Ascension, Allies Aside, and Dead Set. That will be on a Tuesday, June the 30th. Let's see what else we have. You already mentioned that one. I mean, dude, how far out is the Bane show?
I'm sure you will hear about it from us for multiple, but August 27th is the Life and Death tour at Legends in Covington. Definitely try to make it out to it. I don't think Legends will be there after this show. It's Heavy Chains, Forced Order, Turnstile, Backtrack, Bane, and Terror. Pre-sale tickets are $23, at the doors $25. Like I said, this is Bane's final tour, which you can think it's talking shit all you want, but I've seen Bane's final tour 3 times in the last 10 years.
Like the Eagles, they keep getting back together.
They're Bane. They can do whatever they want. If they enjoy touring and they're making enough money to go home and pay their bills, then hey. And they're still having fun, because that's all hardcore should be about. It's fun.
So speaking of not fun, July 11th, the Thompson House in Newport, we have I Prevail, which is the band who put out that god-awful Taylor Swift cover and became famous overnight. Dayton's Danger Kids, Fit for Rivals, and Dayseeker. I don't have any information about the potential locals.
I don't even understand anything about I Prevail, because there's kids that I would think would hate that love it. A.K.A. Josh Clark.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one that showed it to me. Like, I'd never heard of them, and he was like, hey, you need to check this out. It's a cover, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Josh, this isn't what you listen to. But I really like this. And I was just like...
It's bad.
Josh, like... That's like 10 years ago when Greg, who... If anybody out there listening, obviously you know Greg Gonzalez, who has been one of my best friends for 15 years, and he literally grew up on American Nightmare, Suicide File. He likes the, like, just rock and roll hardcore bands. And 10 years ago, he comes at me and goes, I found my new favorite band. It's Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah. It's just when a friend of yours comes in, and then there's nothing wrong with that band. Like, I don't personally care for that band. Their newer records have actually shown improvement, in my opinion. But at the same time, like, when you go something so against the grain, like, you're just completely thrown off. I mean, Josh knows what he listens to. He usually listens to beatdown hardcore bands. Like, now you're going to tell me some sappy new age metalcore band is, like, your favorite band because of a Taylor Swift cover?
That wasn't good.
Like, it's completely out of the picture.
So, July 13th is Ringworm. You want to talk about that? Do you know about that? I'm sure it's Chris's show. Yeah,
it is a self-core show. Self-core is run by a good friend of mine, Chris Alsip. He does most of the hardcore shows. I either do other hardcore shows or help him out by transporting the PA and whatnot. Ringworm, who else is on that show?
Suicide Pact, Bolt Cutter, Abraxas.
So it'll be the 1 or 2 times you can see Suicide Pact this year. Obviously, most people in that band have full-time jobs and families and stuff, so they don't get to play out as much. Bolt Cutter, I got to see a couple weeks ago. They opened the Bent Life show, and they're actually fantastic. Just straight up hardcore. And the Abraxas is a band that I don't know too much about, but
I know that's a Santana record. That's all I know about the word Abraxas.
I'm pretty sure the way they were explaining to me is they're a Louisville band that used to be together and they just got back together. I will be excited to hear them for the first time. But I mean, Ringworm is always a good show. Side Central is a great place that hopefully we can hold on to for a little bit, as long as ownership doesn't.
It's becoming clear to us that we should write this calendar out beforehand.
Yeah.
July 17th, Homewrecker.
DIY, don't write it out beforehand.
Yeah, right. Homewrecker, Ghost Psalm, Bonehead at Cosmos. You know anything about that?
Yeah, Cosmos. I have not been there. It's in Covington. It's on Main Street. It's, like I said, I haven't been there yet. Homewrecker just came through at the Side Central about 6 months ago, maybe even less than that. They're a band from up near Cleveland. I don't think they're actually from Cleveland, but up around Cleveland. Good, solid band. And then to already cut you off, 2 days later after that, I believe it's at the Side Central, is Old Wounds, Exalt, and Push Off, and we are still currently looking for another local band to play that show. Old Wounds is awesome. They're like a heavier 18 Visions almost.
Which 18 Visions? New Metal 18 Visions or hardcore band?
Vanity 18 Visions.
Okay. It's an important distinction to make.
I guess that is true. I guess I just never really listened to that New Metal 18 Visions record.
Well, since I grew up with it. You know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I think those are mostly all the shows.
I got more here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. July 18th is, I guess, Rhythm and Booze. This is local stuff. Rhythm and Booze EP release show at Rick's Tavern and Grill. I have no other details. I just know they're from here. That same night, Pulse 8, Alive, Inside, and Raising Babylon at the New Madison Live. All I really know about that is the guitar player in Raising Babylon ran a radio station here locally for 2 or 3 months. The ownership to this one station got cleared up, and they announced that in 3 months or so that WLW, which is an AM station, was going to simulcast on FM, which is ridiculous in its own right. But in those 3 months that they were going to have a competition to see what was going to get played there, and luckily Josh Fields won. He played nothing but local bands 24 hours a day for the next 3 months. It was fantastic. It was great for the city. It was a lot of fun. When it finally became property of WLW, he had a huge show. Just about every band that he played on the radio got to play this show. Actually, I was on it. It was a great time. Rented out 3 floors of the Thompson House and had basically 8 hours of music going on 3 floors. It was insanity. I think he now writes for Rockstars Glued, which is a publication I don't know anything about, but I know he does that, and he is a very, very good dude. I got July 26th, the Aristocrats are at the Mad Frog, which is silly because the Aristocrats belong somewhere better than the Mad Frog.
It's silly because the Mad Frog shouldn't still exist.
That's true.
With all the gentrification that's going on in Clifton, why can't they tear that place of all places down?
Yeah. What is this? July 27th, Dizzy Bats, Stank Wolf, Sweet Ray Laurel is local. Is that?
What kind of music is that?
I don't know. I think Sweet Ray Laurel is some like indie type of thing. I'm just going through like Facebook
Sounds
invites.
very hip-hoppy.
July 30th, I'm actually going to this, and I'm super excited about it. Dustin Kensrew, the singer of Thrice, just put out a new solo record. He's coming through the Southgate House Revival. It's July 30th with the Rocket Boys, Merriment, and I think there's one more, but it's not showing up on my calendar. We listened to the new record the other day, and it's pretty good. I don't like it as much as his first one, but it'll still be great to see him. Most of the other stuff I got is well into August, and
And we can get to that in
details.
future episodes.
Yeah. Although Devil You Know is coming through Thompson House August 12th.
Yeah, you want to talk about that real quick? How weird if you pull up the event page for it, it literally tells you everyone that's in Devil You Know. And I mean, we both agree and we both enjoy Howard Jones as a singer, and if anybody does listen to Devil You Know, I'm sure you know that Howard Jones sings for that band. Now, in my opinion, Howard should have put Blood Has Been Shed back together and just did Blood Has Been Shed, but this is the band that he chose to go record and be in a band with. But the lineup for the band is kind of strange. You've got a couple of the guys that were in Divine Heresy and Fear Factory. None of the major guys, no Dino, no Christian, but some of the side guys. Wambacher from Bleeding Through. I don't remember where the drummer is from.
Devoted, I think it's about to say Fear Factory. Okay, so the event page says, of course, Howard Jones, Killswitch Engage, Blood Has Been Shed. Francisco something Spanish. He was in All Shall Perish, and a project named after himself. John, previously of Devolved, Fear Factory, Divine Heresy, and Ryan from Bleeding Through, and another guy who doesn't have a cool where he came from thing on the other guitar. What's weird is that no other band is listed at the moment, so I guess we'll get you more info on that when we have it. Flipping through August, it's looking not super exciting until, of course, August 27th, Terror Bane, Turnstile, etc. So that is the upcoming months.
Going way too far ahead, but something we can say, obviously.
Just write it down.
I do a festival every year for my birthday. It's not always been on my birthday. The first year it was actually on St. Patrick's Day weekend at the house. And Greg and Drama called it Q-A-Palooza. And I wasn't actually... All I did was get bands for that. They got all the fun party supplies. But this will be the 5th or 6th year of doing it. And this year, tentatively, will be September 19th. Bands that are mostly confirmed so far is Knocked Loose, We Are As Ronin. I'm trying to work on some other bands from out of town. Another Mistake said they would play. Other locals, Eternal Void. All My Friends Are Dead. Just it's usually cheap this year. I think because we are trying to get out of town bands, it will be $5, but it'll be somewhere between 12 and 15 bands. It'll be an all-day event, and you just come out and enjoy some local and regional music. I don't usually ask bands outside of the region. I won't announce them yet because they haven't confirmed, but there is a band from Wisconsin that I would like to play this year, and hopefully I'll get you more details. And I guess for the last end of the bulletin board, even though they don't need press or anything like that, the one thing we did forget is July 16th is Warped Tour.
Oh, yeah, duh.
And not that there's really any necessary bands that most people listening would care to see, although I'm sure there will be some local bands that do get picked to play, which hopefully Eternal Void.
Yes, please vote for Eternal Void.
If you are listening to this, vote for Eternal Void or any of your friends' bands. Anything to promote and get local bands, the good, not even the good, just your friends. Like good, bad. It's a good opportunity for them. Vice on Victory in the past were friends, and it was just really enjoyable to go to a big show like that and see friends up on that stage and like enjoying themselves.
Yeah. It's a big deal. Like whether you are doing well or you just manage to get picked and it's your first real big thing. Every one of us grows up on Warped Tour. Like Q went to Warped Tour when Moses was on Warped Tour.
He's talking about Moses from the Bible, not Moses from Kentucky.
So he's clearly been to every single one, and probably like 10 per year.
I've not been to every single one. That is the only thing. This year, even if there was not anybody that I cared to see, which there are a couple bands, Paris is blowing up, and my friend Maddie is tour managing Paris. And as much as I would love to see a Lost for Words stick with it and keep touring, Matty has made that choice that he will be tour managing Paris, not only on Warped Tour, but I think full time after Warped Tour. But this will be the 20th year in a row. So at this point, it's just a stupid record that I wish I could not give a shit about. But at the same time, like the first year I went was like the summer that I was 12. And like that was when I got to go to Warped Tour and Ozfest. And those are the only two shows I got to go to as a kid. Because what else are you going to be able to afford?
Nothing. I could go to nothing. I went to nothing until I was like 14 and a half.
And what's funny is I don't know what Warped Tour is now. I mean, I'm sure it's like $45, $50 to get in. Then I think it was 30 bands, $12, $1 service charge. So obviously inflation over 20 years. But I still think, especially for people that like that kind of music or people that want to get into new music of that genre, of those genres, it's definitely better than, say, going to the Jimmy Buffett concert and paying $120 to get high off of arena weed at Riverbend.
Even if there's no good bands at Warped Tour, and the price seems to keep going up, maybe it's because I'm more conscious of the price, given that I'm old and have bills to pay now, but even if, like, my rule is 5 bands. If there are 5 bands I want to see, then I will gladly give over my $45 and go. Last year, not the case. This year, also not the case. Even if you can barely find 5 bands that you actually want to see, people watching is probably my favorite thing to do at Warped Tour. You see every kind of people you can possibly think of. And it's almost a Where's Waldo game to try to find Pat. She's there. She's always there.
Oh, Grandma Pat?
Yeah. You'll see a bubble vest or bubble jacket and a little patch of gray hair in a crowd full of kids with no shirts and mohawks and dreadlocks and whatever else.
There's a lot of things that people miss about the Mad Hatter. The fact that it was a great venue, and it was, for people outside of the city listening, it was a venue we had for years where you could actually go see bands, and most of the shows there were a reasonable price. But the one thing that I miss about being at the Mad Hatter and working at the Mad Hatter is seeing Grandma Pat every day. And the fact that she loved music so much, but usually showed up early, said hi to local bands, fell asleep by the door, caught a bus at 9 o'clock, and missed the tour package. But all she cared about was being there and supporting the people that she met. And I hope wherever she is living a full life still.
You haven't seen her in a while, I guess?
I have not. I have not seen her. It's probably been 6 months.
She occasionally used to invite me to play games on Facebook, and then I block game requests because everybody sends me game requests on Facebook. But I'm sure Facebook is still up. I don't see her as much because we don't have any shows anymore. We used to have Cincy Punk Wednesdays at what used to be the Poison Room. It was like $3 for, I don't know, it would open at 6 p.m. or something and go till they shut down the bar, and it'd just be any band that could manage to get up there. It was great. I went to several of those. She was there every time. And eventually I started to realize the same little old lady was at every single show, no matter where the show was. In Northern Kentucky, Dayton, it didn't matter. She somehow would stand there looking hilariously out of place, barely bob her head, and say hi to everybody and just leave. It was great.
Yeah, it's really hard for some people that never met her to understand, but promoters can say they were the face of the scene. Bands with too much attitude can say they were the face of the scene. Grandma Pat was the face of this scene. Punk, hardcore, metal, rock, hip-hop. She loved every single one of us.
We did a park show. She showed up while we were setting up. She was early. She just, oh, hi, when does this start? How are you? I don't think we've met before. Oh, well, I obviously know who you are. I've seen you at a million shows since I was like 15 years old. And, oh, hi, nice to finally meet you. And she hung out for a couple hours, dipped out, And
I mean, if Grandma Pat ever had a car, she would have been able to stay longer, but she was on her bus schedule.
Yeah.
So, How was your day today, Brandon?
My day. That's the next piece of our itinerary here. Because it's going to be fun. I am a computer technician. Q delivers pizzas. So I get mad
Pop
at...
punk, bro.
Yeah. I get mad at computers. He gets mad at terrible people. In general, something small will piss one of us or both of us off over the course of a day. So we just thought it'd be fun to air those grievances immediately. My day was long as hell. I don't think I took my lunch break until 3:30.
You also don't show up till work till 11.
No. 10:05. I was actually on a decent amount of time today because I didn't get pulled over like I did 2 days ago. My day wasn't that bad. Honestly, it was just long. Like, after lunch, everything pretty well went quickly, but I was just sitting around futzing with computers all day, just thinking this is never going to end. And then I looked up and it was Thursday, and that made me happy because it's fucking Thursday, and that's awesome.
Which is weird because you hate Thursday, and usually they don't make you happy.
Yeah. Bad pun. How was your day, Hubert?
I actually had nothing to do today. Thursdays are usually my off day. I did not work today because I was off. I sat around and played Xbox games from 2004 because that's the year I'm stuck in. I played like MVP Baseball and Burnout. And pretty much that was about it until about 6 o'clock. My little brother came into town. And he's not really little. He's my younger brother.
Yes.
He'll be 29 in September. He lives in a suburb of Philadelphia, and I got to see him and his girlfriend, and they're both very enjoyable people, and I'm very glad to have a relationship with my brother that I didn't have when I was a kid. We definitely didn't get along very well. We're still very different. I listen to hardcore and metal and pop punk. I have tattoos. My little brother enjoys country, racing, and fishing. I finished about 3.5 years of college. Paul Thomas had his master's at 25. He actually, his internship for one of the jobs he was working finally ended, and he's actually been spending the summer teaching troubled children. So he's the banner kid. Although I did find
32 when you deliver pizza.
I did find out from him today that he does think that no one else in this world besides him could be a better president of the United States. So he is a little cocky. But I still love him, and it's a great time to have the family all together. And definitely just a good, solid day. And now I'm here talking about... Normally I'd come in here and it'd be like, to hell with all this shit. I have, pizza delivery. I'm a pizza delivery person. I deliver pizza to people that don't care. And, I'm sure we'll get into it later and on different days about people that, there's a plenty of times during the week where people will tell me they can't tip me because they're saving up to buy weed later on in the night.
Or that you don't deserve it because of... What was it was like an Indian guy, right?
Oh, I don't deserve it because my job is meaningless.
Yeah.
But, I've also been told that I didn't deserve a tip because I was white. But, to each their own, and honestly, sometimes those things, you could be having a horrible day and you would think that would just make your day worse, and it just makes you laugh. So, on your busy, boring day of computers, what were you listening to today?
That's another segment because obviously this is going to be focused around generally rock and roll music, hardcore punk, pop punk, metalcore, new metal, whatever. We're older guys. We've been through a lot. I was raised on country music. I went through a lot of phases. Q will surprise you when you ask him what his favorite bands are because they won't make sense together. His iTunes is like 2/3 of his computer's hard drive, and it'll blow your mind. So what we're listening to is obviously depending on moods. I tend to go in phases. Q likes shuffle on his iPod, which rolling around in the car with him is some kind of frustrating because it'll play something good and then something awful and then just something that's just staticky noise, and you never know what's coming. But I today, and I want to say the last 2 days, have been really into Affiance's new record, Blackout. It's on Spotify. It's good. It sounds like their other records, but I don't know. It's just the first 2 songs on it really caught my attention, and then after that, I just kind of let it play. So a lot of Affiance. Last week it was nothing but the Deer Hunter, which you'll find out I'm probably going to talk about a lot.
Was it nothing besides the Deer Hunter because that show was announced? And you're so excited to see them.
That helped.
And I'm so excited to stare at them and off into space and be bored out of my fucking mind.
Yeah, just because you don't get it. That's fine.
It's not that I don't get it, it just bores me.
Okay. They're also playing with Chan, which is going to be cool. I went through a Chan phase like 2 weeks ago.
I actually like them, minus the fact they're signed to Sumerian.
Yeah. But that's, what am I listening to? Affiance. And in general, over the past 2 months, it's been nothing but the Deer Hunter. I think I went on a 2-day Blockhead binge because Blockhead's tight and it's cool to work to.
I don't know who they are.
Blockhead's a alternative instrumental hip hop guy.
Okay.
Really, mostly chilled out sample based hip hop. It's pretty fucking cool, really.
I'll have to check that out.
It might be like head music for you because it's so slow and spacey and
yeah, but sometimes I like that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to actually, because of this podcast, listen to new music, but obviously there's a lot. Like Brandon said, I have a constant shuffle going on. Yesterday, I've been hearing about this band for a year now, and I never gave them a chance because I just didn't feel like I had time. But I checked out Being as an Ocean, and they're actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's they're like a hardcore band with clean a hardcore band trying to do metalcore clean vocals in between.
It's In Heart's Wake or something like that?
I don't know who that is.
It's another Australian band. They hang out with North Lane a lot.
Okay. But
they're kind of typical metalcore. They're a little more interesting than that, but I don't know. It's North Lane without the...
And the one thing about Being as an Ocean that really throws me off is a lot of the bands that are in that kind of is it metalcore, is it hardcore, is it pop punk, what is it kind of scene, they're all pretty dudes. Every dude in this band is ugly as sin.
See, and I trust them more because of it.
Exactly. You're hey, you're real. It's not hey, for anybody that's listening and knows of our friends in Hail to the King, when Denialist presently, previously Hail to the King, when Denialist was asked or discussed with about being signed to a major, a certain individual told them that their guitar player needed to drop a certain amount of weight to be pretty enough for their band to go anywhere.
Yeah, your guitarist, is too ugly to sign your band. You fire him or he gets in shape, and we'll talk business. To which Cody. Basically, what was the exact quote on that?
I mean, I don't have an exact quote.
It was, shove it up your ass.
Shove it up your ass, get fucked. There is a song written about him.
I think it was something to the tune of, that's my best friend, and I'm not doing this without him, so fuck yourself.
And I mean, it shouldn't matter, especially in hardcore, any subgenre of hardcore, but it shouldn't matter what you fucking look like. It's about what kind of heart you put into it, and what kind of enjoyment you get out of it. One of the other bands, obviously, I've been listening to a lot, nonstop, Extinction AD, who have been great friends of mine. Rick and Pete and Scuzz were all in This Is Hell previous to Extinction AD. Travis stayed at home, started a record label, and Extinction is now out on the road touring. They are hardcore kids, but they do not really wish to be associated necessarily with hardcore. They are a straight fuck you in your face thrash band.
Like white Reeboks, like crazy high Reeboks, like almost knee high Reeboks. They're so thrash, it's ridiculous, and they're fantastic. Actually, like you'll hear me shit on a lot of the things that Q likes because most of it's uncoordinated idiots with guitars. But he said, I'll plus one you come to this show, and they played like 3 blocks from my house. I was like, fuck it, I'll go see it, and I was blown away. And they're actually getting kind of important. The tour, what show was it?
I just saw them last night. They were actually, or 2 nights ago, they were on tour from Autumn to Ashes, Hawthorne Heights, and Sleepwave, which, if that sounds crazy, insane, and not the tour they should have been on, you are exactly correct.
Yes.
But them and From Autumn to Ashes are on the same booking agency, and they both grew up Long Island, so that's what happened. Another band, which I expect no comment from Brandon on this, but Massive Nights. It's my friend Ryan Rockwell's new band. It's hip-hop.
Right.
It's actually really good. The song Drowned by them is actually a stab at the current state of police force in this country. Also, always To the Wind from Seattle. Great melodic hardcore, new age hardcore, whatever you want to call it. Check it out. They're awesome. It's definitely got a Love is Red feel, which if you listen to this podcast a lot, you will realize Love is Red, The Hardest Fight is one of my favorite records of all time.
And I've never heard it.
Actually, Brandon's heard it 5 times. He just always forgets it.
Okay, maybe I've heard it. I don't remember.
I've been jamming a lot of Ruiner, the new El Nino, because I love my new metal.
Really? There's a new one?
Yeah.
All right.
It's actually on Victory, of all things.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, neither does the new Taproot on Victory either.
Yeah.
But, and then the 2 newer hardcore bands that I've been jamming a lot lately, Resolute from St. Louis, who played Pledges' in quotation marks last show a couple years back.
Yeah.
And they are fantastic, and they are a very politically influenced hardcore band, which is something that I love. And Drown, who I talked about, they're coming here July 4th. I saw them in Florida about 2 months ago at Southeast Beast. They're probably one of my favorite newer hardcore bands. Those guys are from Texas. And that's what I've been listening to this week.
Which brings us to new releases. There have been a couple of what people will consider them important singles dropped lately. In my blog that I just started, Fresh from the Frying Pan, .wordpress.com or whatever the hell. Just search Fresh from the Frying Pan WordPress. You'll find it. I wrote about the new Pierce the Veil single, which I thought was pretty good and mixed like shit. I like Pierce the Veil. Did you listen to it, right?
Yeah, you made me listen to it.
You didn't have much to...
Instead of actually arguing about the song, we pretty much argued what Pierce the Veil is.
Yeah.
Pierce the Veil to Brandon is post-hardcore. To me, it's metalcore.
Because you're stupid.
We will say Brandon has gone to college to be musically inclined, and I have no such teachings of that manner. I took a music theory class as a senior in high school at Moeller. That's about my music classmanship. But either way, it's not a bad song. It's not great. It is the first time I've ever listened to Pierce the Veil on record. I've seen them 7 times, and every time live, they have bored the shit out of me.
I will say I like the band. Warped Tour like 2-3 years ago. Of course, the schedule is random. That's how Warped Tour works. I had the option of seeing Every Time I Die or Pierce the Veil, and I infamously made the decision, having seen Every Time I Die not too long ago, to see Pierce the Veil for the first time, and was horribly disappointed. They did not deliver. 6 months later, a buddy of mine said he saw him at Rocketown in Tennessee. What part of Tennessee? Nashville. Said they were fantastic. After standing next to me watching them suck at Warped Tour. So, I don't know, maybe it was a rough night, maybe it was Warped Tour. Who knows?
I mean, that's the thing. Any band can have a great night one night and a great, or a horrible night the next. And the only one that I will say completely proves my point on that is... I'm not going to ever try to argue this because almost everyone will say it. Tool is an awesome band.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw them at Ozfest 98 at the Rubber Bowl in Akron, the sound guy had nothing mic'd up besides the kick drum and the bass guitar. Couldn't hear Maynard, couldn't hear the guitar, and it was a horrible fucking set. Not the band's fault.
Right. What else came out? I also wrote about the new Memphis Mayfire, which I could spend the next hour bitching about, but we'll just lay it out nice and flat. It's riff-built, cliche bullshit. The lyrics suck. They're musical cancer, and I will repeat that until I'm blue in the face. It sucked. It pissed me off. I really only listened to it so I could bitch about it on my blog. So I tore it a new asshole. Last night, Disturbed single dropped. It had over 1 million hits on YouTube in 24 hours. It blew dick.
The song is, in my opinion, what you expect from Disturbed. The song is not anything special. It doesn't even sound like a single. I'm sure there is a better choice for a single, and if this is the only good choice, then this record isn't going to do shit.
Look,
it might not even go gold.
Here's some things to know about Disturbed. Everybody knows The Sickness. Everyone knows the singles off of that record. That's arguably the catchiest of their records as far as like metalheads are concerned. 40-year-old dudes with chain wallets will argue that the next 4 records were great. I really like their second record, Believe. It was a mix of... It was new metal. It was still kind of catchy. It had some cool riffs and textures and stuff. And, of course, that's like me remembering it from 12 years ago. But the next several records were just shit. It was just the same shit over and over again. A boring-ass verse. It opens with a big guitar riff. Most of the time, they're not even that exciting. And then this big chorus. I don't know what David Draymond's thing is. It's like Middle Eastern sounding, his vocal melodies, and he uses the same goddamn move every time. And this is the same fucking song you've been hearing for the last 10 years.
Except for with less try. He clearly doesn't try.
His side project flopped. No one cared.
I don't even know about his side project.
It was bad.
The one thing that I absolutely cannot stand is I actually sat and watched the whole video. Yeah. Brandon just listened to the song at first. And it literally looked like it took 5 minutes on a computer that Brandon probably has here to make the entire video. There's 3 actors that literally are in it for 5 seconds to portray a family. And they were probably like, hey, you want to be in the new Disturbed video?
They got paid. They don't care.
They probably didn't get paid. They probably got handed the new record and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
It was some animated thing.
Horrible.
It was stupid. It was, I don't know, I saw it for a couple of seconds. There was robot people getting their brains drilled on, and the disturbed smiley face guy walks in and starts shooting people.
The theme is okay, but it's the same theme that everybody else is using. It's basically saying that mass media is controlled by a robotic government. Yes, I get it, but you could have portrayed it in a different way.
The song wasn't even about that.
Yeah.
The song actually wasn't about anything. The Vengeful.
I mean, I'm sure it's about something.
Yeah, vaguely.
But,
it sucked.
What else has came out? The new Prada just came out.
Haven't heard it.
I played it for you actually, but that shows.
It sounds like that's what I said. What is this chuggity nonsense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't listening.
Everyone keeps trying to tell me that it's different. I don't hear the difference. It sounds the same.
The new Miss May I dropped. I haven't heard it because I don't give a shit.
I haven't heard it either. I'm sure we'll hear a couple songs off of it at Warped Tour.
The Deer Hunter dropped the first song from Act 4. They did their first 3 acts, their first 3 albums. Took a little detour to the color spectrum where they wrote an EP on every color of the rainbow plus black and white, which was incredible. Then the record Migrant, which had nothing to do with the storyline. It's been a couple of years. They just dropped a 9-minute long song for Act 4. It is great. If you like the Deer Hunter, I'm never going to shut up about the Deer Hunter. Deal with it. What else came out?
I mean, I don't even care. Like, the thing with the Deer Hunter is you're right. I just don't get it. Like, it's not something that I care to listen to. I saw them live at the Mad Hatter. I made it through the set. I didn't walk outside. I sat there and smoked a pack of cigarettes because I was bored out of my mind.
Did you see them with Say Anything, Megan Dia, Chris Connolly?
No, Deer Hunter was the headliner.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the first time I saw them. It was fantastic. I saw them with Coheed and 3. That was a good show. I don't know. Their thing is it's just this long story, and it's this theme they use. I don't know. It'll go to like a vaudeville feel, and then it'd be like weird circus thing, and then like a rock song, and it's anthemy, but it's like it's hard to explain. It covers so much ground.
It's not bad. It's just not what I want to listen to.
Right. What else came out?
I don't know. I nothing. Oh yeah, the new Bullet for My Valentine.
We talked
dropped
about this
2 days ago.
I haven't heard.
I have not listened to the last 2 Bullet for My Valentine records. I think the only one I've ever listened to is the first EP and the first full length, which basically is the same record anyways. There's 3 songs off the first EP that's on the first full length. So I don't really know what Bullet for My Valentine sounds like. The song's called like Here's Your Battle, Are You In? Or something like that. It's a war cry song. The biggest thing about it that drives me insane is the opening riff is straight War of Ages. It is a War of Ages riff from 6-7 years ago.
Which, I mean, we were sitting at a party the other night, and you played War of Ages, and 2 people in the room were discussing that this must be Bullet until it wasn't Bullet. Like, it actually caught me for a second. I was like, it might be Bullet, it's not Bullet. Guitar work, similar, sometimes. Obviously super different bands.
Obviously their verses and chorus and non-heavy parts of their song are not similar, because Bullet goes into that, hey, we want to sound like a metal core band, and then when we hit the chorus, we want to sound like Stained.
I see no comparison between them and Stained. But I also haven't heard the last 2 records, or I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they're called. There was The Poison, right? Was that the EP or the album?
That was the album.
Okay, so the Poison was pretty good. The drums were fake as hell. It pissed me off. Production value sucked. A couple of good songs. Scream, Aim, Fire was in there.
I have 1 song off that I've heard. And
there was another one. I don't know.
There's another one, and then there's this new one that's about to drop.
Okay, see, I've not heard anything about Bullet. I'm sure I'll hear it the next day or 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, I found it on Absolute Punk. I didn't even know it was going to happen. I've been actually trying to listen to more other podcasts and expand music, because if anybody out there that knows me, basically, for the past 10 years, all I've ever said is fuck that band.
Fuck that band. It's a game. It's fun.
Like, whether I like it or not, fuck that band, fuck that band, fuck that band. But at the end of the day, even most of the bands that I say fuck that band, I would rather listen to that than Silence.
Yeah.
Except for Sworn In. Fuck that band.
All right. So that's really the best we can remember. The next thing we have written down is the local stuff, local scene. Obviously, we mentioned a bunch of local shows coming up, the local bands on it. One thing I have in mind, I don't know where A Feast for Kings was from.
Carrollton, which is halfway between here and Louisville.
Gotcha. So relatively local. Many of you know their vocalist just had a work accident, passed away. Super tragic. They got another vocalist, changed their name to XXI21. I think they put out something fairly recently.
They're either recording right now or they're waiting on a release date for the record.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about it.
I can't remember. Are they on Tooth and Nail or Solid State? I know they're on a Jesus label. Jesus is their homeboy.
Denialist is about to drop a track. It'll be the first new track under that name. I can't remember who produced it.
No clue.
They've been trying to keep it hush hush.
Ronan just dropped a new track.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
It's very all over the place. I don't know why, but Brandon actually thinks the part of the song that is very tributey towards Killswitch, he thinks not everyone will grasp that. But it is very tributey. It's not a rip of Killswitch. It's very tributey.
The chorus has a vibe.
If anybody knows me, everyone knows I very much like to make up words.
Yeah, you'll hear plenty of that. Anybody putting out anything new?
Locally, I mean, there's a lot of great bands that are putting out new stuff. It's just not stuff that, like, I really hear that much. I know Clouded is working on stuff. They just played a show. For those who don't know, that's Jordan Reinhardt's band. It's noise-ish.
Great Dane is recording.
Great Dane is in Boston recording
Yeah.
with Jay Moss from Defeater. And I'm pretty sure I always pronounce his name wrong, and I have since he was in the distance. But it may be Mass or whatever. But that is an awesome opportunity for them. Anybody that knows anything about Jay, he's in Defeater. He runs Bridge 9 Records. He was in the distance. I mean, he's done a lot for New England hardcore and just music in general.
There's really not much going on around here, is there?
No, but I mean, that's the thing. We have these shows coming up, and this is the thing, and if anybody wants to write in, not that we have emails yet, or I mean, we obviously have emails, but not for this show yet. But
we'll link our Facebook accounts and bullshit. You could yell at us if you like.
Yeah, you can yell at us about whatever, but here's what I don't understand, and I get this more and more with bands. And I completely understand, like, we're all getting older, like, I'm 32, I'm old as shit at this point for music-wise, like, but I mean, like, you all have jobs and you all have everything else, like, some of you have kids and everything, and I understand that, but if you're going to start a band, and I or somebody else hits you up and goes, hey man, do you want to play this show? And you go, well, I've never heard of the band that we're playing with.
Gives a shit.
Who gives a shit?
Obviously, you, who knows what the fuck you're doing, has the track record to prove you know what the fuck you're doing, is not going to call some, like, new age power metal band to open for a Misfits cover band and then throw hip-hop to open. Like, I mean, you might do that.
I might do that.
To be a dick. But for the most part, I've listened to you book these shows, and I'd be like, hey, you know, what's coming up? You'd be like, well, I got this. I don't know who I'm going to get to do this. Like, I talked to the only, like, 3... hardcore bands that might have been interested. One's on tour, and these guys are still missing a drummer and whatever. Like, you put a lot of thought into this. Like, there's no... For someone, especially someone locally, they should know you. They should know better.
Your local scene, the local scene that you're a part of, isn't there just so you can open for the Acacia Strain once a year. Like, you're supposed to be out there playing. By all means, I totally understand you don't want to play. If you're a Cincinnati band, you don't want to play in Cincinnati 6 times a month. But if you haven't played a show in 3 months, and somebody, it doesn't even have to be me, anybody asks you, like, hey, can you guys play this day? And it's a month in advance, 2 months in advance, and you're just like, well, I'm just waiting for, you know, like, a better show to play. Like, what are you doing?
They'll play everything.
Like, you're just, like, you should be playing music for the love of playing music, not to get famous. Because even the shitty dudes that did get famous, they started out playing it for the love of music. They didn't get famous because they wanted to get famous. Unless you're the dude from Breaking Benjamin.
Right. Fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah, that record came out, too.
Oh, yeah, his single, that did drop, so we're going to backtrack a second. It sounds like every other Breaking Benjamin song. He recently hired a new band after he fired his entire band because they released an awesome, like, acoustic version of one of their songs. And it was actually better than, like, the real song. And because they released it without his permission, he sued all of them, fired all of them, won the lawsuit, and hired a new band. I'm pretty sure, I want to say the drummer or the bass player is a local guy. The single, it's boring as all hell. It's Breaking Benjamin. That's all there is to it. Q's stepping out to smoke, so I will just entertain everybody myself. So the reason that we're short on local news, local releases, is that when Q's house got shut down, the scene dried up pretty quick. A lot of the venues over the last 5 to 10 years have been dropping one by one. I want to say the Mad Hatter, Sudsies just got bulldozed. And it seems like the less shows get booked, the less bands seem to exist. And so local news is going to fluctuate a lot based on just what's going on. Right now, honestly, I can't remember the last time we had a local show.
All local?
Yeah. or even a show with a lot of locals. Like, I honestly can't remember the last time I went to a show at this point. It was probably a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. I mean, obviously you drive all over the place, but like maybe I was at Rockstar not too long ago.
Yeah. Are you going to go Tuesday to Phineas?
I don't know anything about Phineas.
But Eternal Void's playing.
Yeah, maybe an hour out of the way on a Tuesday. Maybe we'll see. But that's Dayton. Things are complicated right now because there are like no venues. We're scraping. Like we've been booking things in bars and paying $250, $300 just to have the show there. You know, half the time Q or Chris is paying out of pocket just to cover the bill and get the band paid, obviously. But things are rough here. Northern Kentucky started to do okay. Management in those areas is kind of weird, but things are struggling.
Thompson House is a great stage and a great sound system to play big shows. But what exactly? Like, that's the thing. It's great for big shows.
Yeah,
it's a 650 cap room.
I've played a show there to 50 people. It looks pathetic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the same as like before we had the Attic, and anyone that's listening that knows about the Attic can say what they want about the Attic, about the way Kilby ran things or anything like that. But hey, a packed show there looked good.
Yeah.
Sleeping Giant and the other band that I will say, fuck that band, Beyond Sworn In is for today, so fuck that band. But and not even fuck that band, just fuck their singer.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, there's one thing about being in a band and talking about what you believe in, and I don't care what it is. Like, I'm a Christian, he's a Christian, but there's another thing. There's another thing entirely when kids pay $30 to go to a show, and your band plays 4 songs and you preach for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But well, we're gonna move on right now to the next segment, which is probably what everyone's been waiting for. To hear us argue back and forth, because we clearly have different opinions about something. Every week we're going to pick a band that most people will know, and we're going to argue what their best record is. And there's 2 portions to this. It's what's their best record and what's your favorite record.
Because there's a distinction to be made. I mean, honestly, from a musical standpoint, like as far as like music goes, one can argue that the Black Album is like Metallica's best record. It's sold probably the best. It's the most like musically appealing.
Wait, nobody's arguing that.
Right. It's beside the point. It was the most popular. It will be the most popular. By a lot of people's standards, that makes it the best. It is the most successful. It's accessible, and that's cool. Is it my favorite? No, I don't even think it's the best one. My favorite and the best one, I will argue, is Master of Puppets, because I hate Injustice for All, but these are the arguments that'll go around in circles, so...
But Metallica is not the band we are arguing today.
No.
Today our argument is UnderOath. And one of the reasons that it is very good to argue with this, the Extinction AD show that I was just talking about, I got to see Sleepwave, which is Spencer's new band.
How was that? Live. I've heard the record. I liked it. I didn't love it.
I haven't heard the record. Live, it sounded more enjoyable than the last 2 UnderOath records to me.
How was my comparison?
What did you compare it to?
It was like Spencer fronting a very hyped up version of the first couple of Foo Fighters records. It was like alternative rock, and it was kind of edgy.
I mean, live it seemed heavier than that.
I can imagine.
I would say live it was if Let Live smoked a bunch of weed and chilled out more so. I mean, definitely not like guttural, like Every Time I Die portions of Let Live, but like very, very rock oriented, but still plenty of post-hardcore screamo effects. I actually listened to it. I did not watch it. I sat in the back smoking cigarettes, talking to some of the boys in Extinction because I don't get to see them every day. But I did, check it out and listen to. I listened to. It was close enough in the back, right next to the back door, that I could hear everything. They looked excited. The crowd didn't look too excited.
People are going to have a hard time accepting.
I did hear a bunch of kids, and when I say kids, I mean 23-year-olds go, why don't they just put Under Oath back together?
Which, I mean, they've been talking about, but it's difficult because I want to say there was an interview and Aaron said, whether or not this is a Christian band, I don't care. I would get back together. Spencer said, when he started Sleepwave, he was like, I have platinum records and I can't pay my mortgage. He says, I have a house with no furniture and no car. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, I'm broke. I have gold records and nowhere to hang them up.
It's okay. Spencer wasn't really in Under Oath anyways.
Shut up. So, some of them are like, well, we have kids, and they won't really come out and say who keeps saying no, but it's quite clear they're like, we're going to do it if everybody's in.
I mean, clearly Aaron is right now, presently, probably the driving force of saying no. But almost,
No, Aaron said yes.
Okay, but he might say yes, but at the same time, when is he going to fit it in? He produces, he's doing the almost, he's also doing solo stuff now.
He's drumming with Paramore, and has been for 2 tours.
That.
Oh, yeah. Which is great for Paramore, because he's a great drummer. But I have a feeling it's probably Tim McTagg. I don't know the rest of their names, because the rest of them didn't say much, but I think he was one of the ones who was a family. I could be wrong. I don't know. But clearly with a band full of, was it 6, 7 people? 6 people? It's hard to get it all together. And the ones that are the most aggressively forward in the media are like, yeah, I'm all for it. And they might be full of shit. Who knows? But yeah, people are going to say, why not get Under Oath back together? But in the meantime, you have Sleepwave. They put out a record called Broken Compass. It's technically 2 guys, Spencer and some other dude who honestly I have no idea who the hell he is. But he said, I'm not screaming anymore. I'm gonna sing. And he sings quite a bit like he did on the last Under Oath record. It's very auto-tuned, very processed, kind of nu metal-y almost, which is weird hearing a nu metal vocal line over Under Oath.
I don't know. It's just as nu metal-y as My Take It Home, which isn't really that nu metal-y.
Right, but it's that androgynous, awkward vocal. Probably dudes who have no business singing. But on to Under Oath. I will present my argument first, and I will back it up with a little bit of history. What was it, 2005, 2006, they dropped Define the Great Line? Maybe it was 2007?
Somewhere around
I was in high school. It came out a week before my friend Debbie drove us to Warped Tour, and she kept playing it in the car, and I was just groaning the whole time. Prior to that, I dated a girl who never took off her Only Chasing Safety t-shirt, and I at the time I was listening to street punk and all kinds of not feminine sounding shit, and I heard They're Only Chasing Safety. I hated it, absolutely hated it. I was like, this screaming bullshit is terrible. The singer's pretty good, but the song just sucks. I gave them no credit whatsoever. So that was their pop record. They dropped Define the Great Line. I didn't care. I didn't like that either. Sometime in college, I want to say I was watching a behind-the-scenes thing, and I was like, man, the drums on this record are great. They sound great. If this band wasn't so shitty, I would really like the production value in their music. And then one day in 2009, I was like, you know what? I'll give this another chance. I will try to listen to this again. Not the soft, bad screamo album. I will give Define the Great Line another chance, because all my friends talk about what just a masterpiece this record is. So I sat down and I was like, okay, I will actually try to listen to this. And by the end of it, I was in love. It's fucking brilliant. The next one came out not too long later, or maybe it was even before I gave another chance. I remember listening to one, then not too long after getting to listen to the next. And then, of course, famously, Aaron quit. They got the guy from Norma Jean, who's actually now playing it Every Time I Die.
The drummer?
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
Davis something. I don't know. David Davis.
I never liked Norma Jean.
Me either. Apparently the drummer's good enough to play in Every Time I Die, so that works. So I went from vehemently hating Under Oath to all of a sudden falling in love with 2 of their records. They dropped Disambiguation. I listened to it once. I thought the bass player got really good. The rest of this album blows chunks. So I will state that I only like the two UnderOath records. It's pretty easy to argue that 3 of them were the big records, given that They're Only Chasing Safety was the one that blew up. But there was something happened in between They're Only Chasing Safety and Define the Great Line. And that's what I like. I like the artsy, I like the weird. They just worked for me. They were pieces of art. And if I had to pick a favorite, it's so hard to pick because they're very similar, but the songs are different. Every song on that record sounds different, but they're in the similar vein. And I'll have to go with Define the Great Line, only because I find myself humming it more often, but this is like a 51 to 49% decision. So I will conjecture that it's Define the Great Line.
Is your favorite or the best? Or both?
I'm gonna actually say that Define the Great Line is my favorite, but Lost in the Sound of Separation is probably slightly better. I think it's because I fell in love with one, then got the other. It was like adopting a dog and falling in love with it, and then the person who adopted its twin brother dog like gave up the dog and you got the other one, and you're like, I love this one too. It's like another version of my dog, except I already love the other one more because I knew it longer. So like that's really where my argument's coming from, and really, like I said, it's 51-49.
Okay. Anybody out there that's listening that knows me knows I really, really, really enjoy not necessarily first records, but the first record I hear by a band. It's really hard for me to get past that, especially if I love that record. There are some bands like that I like their second record better, like Primer 55. Their first record blows nuts. Their second record is probably the best nu metal record, definitely to come out of Kentucky ever. But just that in general. The first UnderOath record I heard was Cries of the Past, which 9 out of 10 people would tell you is not really an UnderOath record.
In the chronology, what?
It's their second record. I never heard their first record, Active Depression. Cries of the Past came out in 2000. I heard it on a Christian comp.
I was 11 years old, so I wasn't listening to that then.
Yeah, I was 17. But the changing of the times is what got for me, and I saw them at 5 different Christian festivals on the tour. That is to me what UnderOath is and was about. It is also where
was about.
Okay.
Let's stress that point. Was about because there are at least 3 distinct versions of UnderOath.
Okay.
Because obviously, look, you had Dallas fronting the band. He went on to do Maylene. He sounds one way. They were this weird, fucked up Southern metal band, Christian stuff. Honestly, I've listened to very little of the old stuff because I can't listen to it. It's just fuzzy, shitty. It's noise.
UnderOath is not so Southern. Maylene was Southern.
Yeah, but Dallas is Southern. His vocal approach is Southern.
Actually, if you listen to his vocal approach on the Changing of the Times, there's nothing Southern about it. It's a straight scream. There's nothing Southern about it.
All right, well then,
and I'll play some of it for you when we're done with this.
Okay, and then obviously They're Only Chasing Safety. Was that the first or second record with Spencer?
It's the first record with Spencer, and it wasn't even supposed to be with Spencer. It was written for Dallas, and Dallas left, and then they tried to find. Everything was written, and Spencer came in and recorded it when he got chosen,
and it was awful.
And I think it's their best.
It's garbage.
It's
it is
not
sissy
garbage.
Crap. The songs don't make any goddamn sense.
Okay, but that's the thing. They were transitioning from their noise screamo-ness to what they did in Define the Great Line.
No.
And the thing I don't like... Hang on. The thing I don't like about Define the Great Line is Define the Great Line, there are at least 9 separate riffs on that record that he straight took from an Every Time I Die record.
It's chaotic, dissonant hardcore. If you throw a tritone in a song, it's going to sound like Every Time I Die. Plain and simple. It parts Let Live sounds like Every Time I Die. Occasionally Glassjaw sounds like Every Time I Die. If you throw something ugly and fast in a song, it sounds like Every Time I Die. And Every Time I Die has covered everything from fucking doom and sludge to like thrashy fast to party metal. Shit, they invented party metal.
And I also still feel, I'd have to look it up, but I still feel like They're Only Chasing Safety commercially was their most successful record.
Well, of course it was. They had fucking 3 videos on Fuse that didn't make any sense, and the flippy goddamn hair, and it was terrible. It was bullshit. Like, what was the single? Reinventing Your Exit?
There was several singles.
Okay, Reinventing Your Exit, Dangerous Business Walking Out the Front Door. Like a cute song title, sure.
Reinventing Your Exit, It's Dangerous Business, Walking Out Your Front Door, and where's the track listing?
Like, as far as Aaron's work is concerned...
I don't feel very receptive today was the other single.
I might have heard it.
That's their heaviest song on that record.
Well, I haven't heard it. All I hear is... Eh. So Aaron clearly shines on this record. His drumming is probably pulled
Aaron
back a little
wrote this
bit.
record.
And he'd been in the band since, like, their first one, or maybe he was the first, like, original member or whatever. We started when he was, like, 14 or some shit. But he shines. And then you've got Spencer.
I never knew this, but Dallas actually wrote Reinventing Your Exit.
No.
Whereas Aaron writes every other fucking UnderOath song, period.
Yeah. But, so you've got this very polarizing thing between... You've got one guy who is, like, the face of Screamo. Like, Silverstein is important. Hawthorne Heights is important at this time. Like, all of this horrible, just mumble, sissy crap. Then the screamy part. Like, it wasn't tough. It was shit. It was all shit. I fucking hate anything that ever got labeled Screamo. Every bit of it's just goddamn terrible. So you've got one guy, and they got the song structures of scream, sing, yeah, scream, and then you sing the chorus, whatever. So you've got one guy who does these shrill, annoying high screams. He's new. He's got long hair. He's ugly as hell, actually, which is weird for that band. You've got Aaron, and he's got his flippy goddamn hair, and he has this beautiful voice. And these songs don't make a lick of fucking sense. And then, like, a million t-shirts and Chelsea cuts with the fucking granny shit in the back, like bows in the hair, and I'm pretty much describing my ex-girlfriend at this point. Goddamn emo kids. It was fucking emo kids. Like, nobody said emo kids in, like, 10 years. Because they disappeared. Emo kids became scene kids. Scene kids just... I don't know what the fuck we got now. Goddamn hipsters and shit. But they put out this record, and they're instantly important. They sell a shitload of records because Fuse is, like, at the height of its popularity. Right? Their videos are artsy. Their songs fucking suck. They suck shit. They were Hot Topics, like, bread and butter. And it was fucking terrible. So yeah, you're right. Commercially... best-selling record. You could back that shit up with facts.
I just think, and here's the other thing. That record was 2004, I believe. I could pull it back up, but I'm 95% sure it's 2004. And here it is 11 years later, and you can say Define the Gray Line was more musically talented, and so was Lost in the Sound of Separation. But any kid that listened to UnderOath 11 years ago will sing every song front to back from Reinventing Your Exit.
It's pop garbage.
Okay, but I mean, like, a lot of the stuff we all listen to is pop garbage.
Well, look, I've got a soft spot for pop garbage, but especially given the context, you went from a weird, obscure metalcore band that got a little bit more interesting with every record or whatever the hell they did, and then they put out this. They changed members and they put out this shitty pop record, and it's all polished and terrible. And then in the context, like, that transition is jarring, right? That was a big change. From that to Define the Great Line, it doesn't make any sense. Had They're Only Chasing Safety been their, like, very first record, or their very last record, like, they pulled a Cave In and just one day was just like, we're a pop band now, and we suck shit. Like...
Cave-In never sucks shit.
Okay,
Shut the fuck up.
Pop records fucking suck.
Whatever. Everything Cave-In has done is great.
Okay, they went from sounding like Converge to sounding like Eve 6, like overnight. It was garbage.
Actually, I'm pretty sure they influenced Eve 6.
Whatever. I'm not old enough to even listen to Cave-In. Point is, it didn't make sense for them to go from angry-ass metalcore to shitty pop band to artsy metalcore record. Because that record is a work of art. Like... I've never heard sounds like that in my entire life. The song structures are interesting. Like, their single. Let's talk about the single from that record. They put out one. It was Writing on the Walls, right?
From what?
Define the Great Line.
In Regards to Myself was the first single on
Was that even a single?
Yeah.
Was there a video?
The first video.
I never saw it. Never mind. Fuck that. I saw Writing on the Walls. And that's the closest thing to a pop song you're going to find on that record. The rest of it is just straight art. It's all spacey and weird. The Hebrew guy comes in and reads from the Torah. It's fucking bonkers. You know that song like Salmonir or whatever? And they open all clean and shit. And that guy starts talking over it. He's reading in Hebrew.
All I could think about when you said it was the Hebrew guy, I thought of Modest Yahoo. And I was like, he's not on that record.
Which would have been interesting.
Though. No, it would not have. Fuck Modest Yahoo.
No, fuck you, man. Modest Yahoo is dope. So then they make Define the Great Line. And all these fucking emo kids, I don't remember what they did. They were probably furious. So all of a sudden the band got weird. And then they're like, oh, I'm sure they're thinking, oh, well, it'll come back. They just had to get the weird out. They're going to make another shitty pop record. And instead they give us Lost in the Sound of Separation. Which is just a even more dense and chaotic version of Define the Great Line. So I like to pretend that Define the Great Line is their first record. Because if I think about anything else, I'm disappointed. Let Live put out like 2 records and an EP before Future History. Do I give a shit about those records? No, they're fucking terrible. They're recorded bad. They sound bad. Jason sounds like shit. It's garbage. They'll never play that shit again. How many times have you seen UnderOath?
15.
15? I've seen them like one half of once. I never got to see them when they were good. How many times...
Did you see them at that final show here in Cincy? We weren't friends at the time.
No.
Because that was a good tour. It was like UnderOath, Comeback Kid, This Is Hell, and somebody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone to that.
It was at Radio Down.
Because I've never been there. So, how many times after the release of They're Only Chasing Safety did they play a song older than They're Only Chasing Safety? That you
never.
Remember? Exactly. Never.
Because
they became
Dallas
a different
wasn't
fucking band. And why would they? Yeah. Of course Dallas isn't there. He had better shit to do.
Maylene played a song off Changing of the Times once, like the first time I ever saw them.
Which would make sense, because Maylene sounds more like... Well, it doesn't sound anything like UnderOath, actually. Fuck that. But that's... It's got to be telling. Now, you got a band who's got a ridiculously long career, who, at the time of their breakup, the original member was the keyboard player who'd been there not even the longest. Prior to that, Aaron had been there from like the first record to like the second to last one. You've changed every other member several times. We're talking about different bands. Every time they put out a new record, or that one of those big shifts happen, there's a different fucking band.
Okay, but that's the thing. Should a band that completely changes their musical style hold on to the same name? And at the same time, the one other thing that I want you to actually think about, because you're the one that just said it, is 10 years really a long time for a band?
I think it depends on the band.
Because the first record's 99 and the last record's 10, and they broke up in 11.
I think it really depends on the band.
Okay.
When it comes to...
I mean, we can look at Sick of It All. That's like 33 years.
Right.
Agnostic Front. I mean, Agnostic Front took a break, but...
Or
Rolling Stones, like, what is that, like 68 years?
Yeah, like it's 150 years. Some kinds of music are timeless. Aggressive music, alternative music for the time, is very rarely timeless. It's not been timeless in the last, like, 2 or 3 decades. Like, you want to talk about counterculture in, like, the 60s and 70s. People are going to bring up, like, Iggy Pop, MC5, and shit like that. What's counterculture that happened between the 80s and now that still is around?
Slayer!
Yeah, thrash metal. You know what happened to half your thrash metal bands? They fucking sold out and became rock bands. Like Anthrax still kicks it. Exodus has been through probably 15 member changes, Gary Holt coming in and out, whatever. But most of them, they're really only doing festival stuff because they're not important. But that was even a mainstream movement, the thrash metal. Hair metal's still going to have their so-and-so reunion tours and whatever. So-and-so got out a rehab tour. But real counterculture. Hardcore bands normally don't last long. The most prolific hardcore bands don't fucking last. Like, how many records did Bad Brains put out?
How many real records? I think they only have 3 real records, and then but then they have like 4 Jaw records where it's not even hardcore and it's just whatever.
And shit, I'm struggling for names here. Like, a band like Gorilla Biscuits. What, like 2 albums and then like a live record that's probably a bootleg that everybody
2
has.
albums and I think an EP.
Yeah.
Although technically Gorilla Biscuits self-titled could be considered an EP.
Yeah, you want to talk about hardcore bands? They don't have long careers. They break up, start 15 other bands. You know, Ian MacKay's followed.
Of them. Yes, I agree.
Into Fugazi, and God knows what else he did. But then he ended up in like this 3-piece alt rock band or some shit where he played guitar. It's weird.
Embrace is who you're thinking of.
He did something else.
Oh, okay.
Like recently.
Oh, okay.
I didn't keep track of it. It didn't work for me. But and then. Really, you want to talk about like alternative bands? A band like Armor for Sleep headlined Warped Tour. They put out 4 records. One of them was a commercial success. The next one was a flop. They broke up. People forgot about Armor for Sleep. I'm like the only person I know who gives a shit about Armor for Sleep. And
I like that one record.
I want to listen to the one record. We're probably not even talking about the same record.
Oh, what record are you talking about? I'm talking about The Truth About Heaven.
Yeah, it was called
Car Underwater.
What to Do When You're Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah, I'm just naming songs, and that's not even the record.
But bands like that, like The Used managed to make it, because they broke through. Like, Silverstein is still kicking, barely. Like, they made a little comeback or whatever. But let's talk about a band like, like Hawthorne Heights keeps going, but what was the My Chem lookalike kids? With the they were gothy dudes and they were awful.
From First to Last?
No.
Because they're awful.
Not Skrillex. Which their new record is actually going to be dope because they got Spencer from Periphery, and it's probably going to be really sweet.
Actually, if you take
Aiden, I'm thinking of Aiden.
Oh, okay.
How important is Aiden? They're not. No one gives a
Will
shit.
Technically is kind of important,
but it was
but mostly through his charitable causes rather than his music.
He was a phase. That band was a phase. Things like this are phases. So you want to talk about timeless bands? We don't have them anymore. So to talk about like a band lasting 10 years, that is a big deal now. It didn't used to be because you used to put out a record every 3 years or so. And that's just
but
how
it also
happened.
just depends because you do have bands that have lasted that long.
You do, but how common? You got 360 deals and fads, and every fad comes with 15 new fucking bands. Like hair metal lasted like a decade. It was a long thing. Now,
not really, because it really didn't come to pass till '87. And it was gone by '91.
Well, I remember it. Whatever. I wasn't alive then. You were. But beside the point. But the trends now, they come and go so much quicker. I mean, how is Skrillex going to stay relevant? He's going to trend hop and do something else. The dubstep thing was, 2-3 years, maybe? Every hardcore band, metalcore, metal, whatever, put dubstep shit in their songs. It's all over. So things change much faster now. And, UnderOath lasted over 10 years. They put out, 7+ albums?
6 records.
Yeah. The first couple...
3... that you consider UnderOath, and then I get 7 records. 7 records.
And the first bunch all sounded kind of like one thing, and there's one completely random.
Actually, I would say, besides Define the Great Line and Lost in the Sound of Separation, every UnderOath record sounds different. You could actually put Lost in the Sound of Separation and Define the Great Line as a double disc and resell it, and I think it would work with that. Disambiguation sounds completely like everybody started doing too many drugs.
It sounds
They're only chasing safety is you're completely right. It is a screamo pop record.
And it's shit.
Changing of the Times is also a screamo record, but it's at a time where that kind of stuff wasn't there. You had UnderOath, From Autumn to Ashes, and Atreyu, and that was it.
Yeah. And look how long some of them have lasted.
Yeah.
Atreyu went on hiatus after they wrote a record that
From
everyone
Autumn to
hated.
Ashes just got back together and played that Extinction show. And, was it an okay show? Yeah, but I mean, tops 400 people there watching them. Yep. Their original singer's not in the band. I mean, their original singer is in the band. He's not playing drums and singing anymore. But their original, loud frontman vocalist, hasn't been in the band for the last 3 records. But then you have before that, Cries of the Past is basically like a death metal record with hints of black metal, which is just all over the place. Like I wouldn't even consider that would be the one thing that I will agree with you and be like, this is not even a record. This is a bunch of dudes sitting in a garage trying to play the loudest shit they can while still being Jesus. And then, like I said, I haven't even heard their first record. I never could find it. It wasn't reissued on Solid State like Cries of the Past was.
Yeah. So we very much agree that there was 3 distinct sounds.
Yeah.
Some could argue 4 because Disambiguation was so different. It sounded like Define the Great Line on acid with Spencer singing, which at the time was a really bad idea. He's a little better now. But, okay, so we can both say that They're Only Chasing Safety made the most money. Fine. It sold the most t-shirts. It spawned... It probably had the greatest influence on pop culture. Not that I give a half a fuck about pop culture. But, like, musically... Like, from a musician standpoint, understanding music and knowing... Yeah, look. There's some things I like, and I know they suck. Like, I love The Unseen. All the songs sound the fucking same.
That band's great.
They're fun live. Technically, shit. It is shit. It is noisy shit, and I love it. But I'll own up to that. I love Owl City. That makes me a sissy. That's fine. So
fuck Owl City's new song.
Fuck you. I haven't heard it yet, but fuck you anyway.
It's got the Hanson brothers on it.
All right. So, but you have to draw the lines between, like, yeah, what made the most money, but what's actually the best? Which one did you enjoy the most?
Okay, I completely agree. And all I'm saying is, to me, their best record, because I thought it was closer to the sound that they originated, is They're Only Chasing Safety. Because Define the Great Line, Lost in the Sounds of Separation, sounds like they were starting to be influenced by the bands they were going on tour with. They're Only Chasing Safety is them modifying their sound that they had with Dallas. It's them actually progressing. Because you would not have Define the Great Line if they wouldn't have progressed to the point of They're Only Chasing Safety and gotten Spencer.
And, hell, even Spencer changed between records.
Oh, absolutely, because he came in and sang on a record that was meant for Dallas.
Yeah.
And he didn't know how he was supposed to sing. He just went in there and did it.
And his range got lower, his diction got better, the songs were better.
But my favorite record is The Changing of the Times, because that is the UnderOath record that I saw them play 7 out of the 15 times I've seen them.
And that's justified to you, that your first experience is the best one.
No, I'm not saying it's their best. I'm saying it's my favorite.
Gotcha. Okay, so what...
It's realistically, it's a garbage record. The keys are a fucking joke on that record. But it's still, like, the closest thing to a hardcore record that they've ever put out. And that's what I enjoy.
That's coming from a perspective, though, that they were, like, a weird metalcore band.
Metalcore and hardcore in 2002 were the same fucking thing. I mean, yes, there was... But, I mean, there wasn't the gap that there is now. Contrary to how much you hate them, Terror and Memphis May Fire now are on tears in fucking Westchester and Memphis May Fire's downtown. In 2002, UnderOath and Terror were both hanging out in this house together, playing the same shows, the same fests, and they were the same fucking band.
But you also had, like, the early stages of the melodic metalcore, whether, like, Shadows Fall... Diecast, shit like that was around, right?
Yeah.
That was melodic metalcore. It was all happening in the same...
See, I think that was just metal at the time, with core influence.
Well, okay, well then in 2000s, things get complicated at this point because new metal is a thing. You have to designate this as new metal and this is regular metal. What was, I don't know, fucking Black Label Society doing? Is that even a band yet?
Zakk Wylde is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, fuck Zakk Wylde. But... You just hate Zakk Wylde.
I do hate Zakk Wylde.
But, like, while we're calling, what was Children of Bodom a band in the early 2000s? So that's metal.
Yeah.
So you think that
Black
Shadows
Label
Fall?
Society, anyone that considers them a metal band is on fucking drugs.
Okay.
Black Label Society is a rock band.
Okay, but that's besides the fucking point. Do you think
you
Shadows
asked me what
Fall...
I thought Black Label Society was.
Okay, straying off topic. This whole thing's off topic, but you think a band like Shadows Fall or Diecast is the same as Children of Bodom? They're both metal bands?
No, I get okay.
See, that's where you have to start calling it metalcore.
Each diecast record is different. Because honestly, the first 2 diecast records are hardcore records, and then they switch over to a metalcore band.
Yeah, but then it becomes metalcore. So
and Shadows Fall technically is, yes, a metalcore band. But in the long scheme of things, where they kind of stop being a metal... Same with Lamb of God. Lamb of God coming up was a fucking metalcore band.
They were a hillbilly metalcore
They were a
band.
fucking straight-up metalcore band. They played every Hellfest. The last real fucking good tour that I ever got to see them on, because it was cheap and I could afford to go, was Lamb of God, Unearth, Every Time I Die, and I think the Red Chord played that tour.
Okay, it's 50% good.
So I'm... Okay, but anyways... But I mean, I'm saying, like, they came up through the hardcore scene. But anyone that looks at it now will say Lamb of God from day one has only been metal.
That's because Lamb of God fans are the worst
and
thing
I
about
will
Lamb
also
of God.
say Shadows Fall, looked at now, everyone will say that they're a metal band.
No, they're a melodic metalcore band.
Okay.
You throw that word melodic metalcore in there, you immediately start thinking about the Northeast. Like, those, like...
Killswitch, Shadows Fall.
Yeah, but the things that were predecessors to Killswitch. The diecast and Shadows Fall. Everybody
all
was
the same time period, really.
Well, it was a couple years prior, right?
What?
Like the first Shadows Fall was probably older than
Shadows
Killswitch.
Fall and Killswitch are the exact same time period, from first record to first record.
See, I was under the impression that given that Phil Labonte wasn't he in Shadows Fall? That was originally.
I don't know. I never cared for Shadows Fall. I only saw them whenever they came through with Hatebreed.
Because, yeah, metalcore bands would tour with hardcore bands.
Yeah.
That's fine. Melodic metalcore, I'll correct myself. But then something weird happened when you had a band like UnderOath come through.
I mean, UnderOath... The first time I saw UnderOath, they were with Figure 4. Because there was 2 Christian bands playing. The next time I saw UnderOath, it was UnderOath Bleeding Through in Figure 4. But then a couple years went by. I mean, I saw them at a couple fests. Played Warped Tour, Furnace Fest, Hellfest. But then a couple years go by, and then they start playing with more like-minded. It was like UnderOath, 18 Visions. I can't remember who else was on that tour. Maybe Stretch Armstrong, but that doesn't sound right.
Of course you were there, because you're older than dirt.
This isn't even that old. We're talking like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. That's not fucking old. 12 years ago, you were what, 14? You're still...
Not going to shows yet. Not old enough. Dad wouldn't let me. Anyway, Define the Great Line is a masterpiece. Look, can we at least agree that it is artistic and interesting? Both of those records.
If you're going to ask me what's artistic and interesting, I would rather be interested in listening to the Lost in the Sound of Separation.
Commercial selling, we agree on. Obviously,
they're only chasing safety.
Even though it shouldn't have fucking happened. Plain and simple.
Okay, but I mean, like, should The Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights been commercially fucking successful? No, that record is 11 songs of the same song with the same breakdown with the same screams.
Yeah, bad. But they happened to write one song with the word Ohio in it, and it blew the fuck up.
Yeah. And then the breakdown of Nicky FM is the same fucking thing. The breakdown of Life on Standby is the same fucking thing. And they're Dayton, Ohio band. Of course, I've listened to that record 1,000 times. And, like, those dudes came to hardcore shows.
Yeah. Well, that, I mean... Trying to wrap up the
Yes,
fact.
I know. Define the Great Line, Lost in the Sound of Separation is the defining UnderOath records. Yes, they're both musically, artistically great. To me, still the best because it's commercial and everything else. Not that I like commercially accepted music, but I still think it's what stays in the hearts and minds of the kids that it affected the most. It's nostalgic. That's the best word for it.
I'll give you
It's
that.
an extremely nostalgic fucking record. And my favorite record is Sign of the Times. Changing of the Times. Sign of the Times is like Cro-Mags.
Yeah, and Because of the Times is a Kings of Leon record. There's Of the Times in a lot of...
Yeah.
You won't know shit about Kings of Leon, will you?
What?
Do you listen to Kings?
Weird story. The first time I ever started listening to Kings of Leon was because of Lost for Words covered that one song, and you were there, I think, at the Rockstar show they played with State Champs.
Nope.
No? Well, they covered a Kings of Leon song, and I actually liked it, so I actually went and got a Kings of Leon record.
I have all the Kings of Leon records. Love Kings of Leon.
I mean, they're okay. There's nothing. I mean, like, I will definitely rather listen to Kings of Leon than Maroon 5.
I've got a soft spot for Maroon 5. I don't know why. I try to hate it, and I just can't.
You know what you really need to check out, and we'll probably listen to after this is over? The new Yellow Wolf song, because it sounds like Maroon 5.
I don't know shit about Yellow Wolf.
He's a rapper.
Yeah, he looked like...
He's actually an okay rapper. But, like, his new song sounds like Maroon 5. It sounds like rap mixed with Maroon 5 anally raping Kid Rock. That
sounds like a mess.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Gotcha.
So we'll listen to it later.
All right. Well, that covers UnderOath. This will probably come up again because it's a polarizing issue. What time is it?
We're at about an hour and a half, I think, maybe.
Yeah, about an hour and a half. So we have written down here that we were potentially going to discuss some social issues, things happening in the world, because we both have a unique perspective in that.
Let's not. I have one thing to say about social issues, and then you can just the only social issue, because we have already talked for an hour and a half, and I'm old and I have kidney problems and I have to pee. So I think it is one of the big social issues that we are dealing with in this world, and it's what we just talked about. So down the street from our homes, there's a place called the Glass Barn, which I personally have never been into.
Well, hang on. I can give more history on that.
Okay, cool.
So we had the Bargain Barn, which was a hardware store. It was kind of an everything store. It was a shit store. There's all kinds of shit. But there was the Bargain Barn. They opened the building next to it was the Glass Barn. You could buy vases and china and forks and weird shit, all kinds of weird shit. They opened the building next to it was the Barn Annex, which, I don't know, they had like concrete statues for your lawns and shit. They sold all kinds of stuff. If you quick needed a can of spray paint, you needed a bolt for something, you go down there and get it. Like, it wasn't super cheap. It was kind of actually just fun to go in there and look at stuff. The owner died, left it to his kids. For some reason, they changed the name from the Bargain Barn to the Barn Hardware. Maybe that made it clearer what it actually was. They go out of business, which is no surprise because the people that was owning it, they're idiots. They were shitty to people. They probably didn't have any business anymore. Early this week, they put up a construction fence.
Yeah, last week.
And all this week, they've been bulldozing this building. Now, we knew it was going to get sold. We knew it was going to get repurposed with something else. The building wasn't set up for anything special. It was just a big concrete building. It's actually really simple structure. So, like, it's not a restaurant, so you think it's going to be another restaurant because they already have a kitchen. It's not a grocery store because it's already set up with freezers and shit. Like, it could have been anything. But instead, they just knocked it to the fucking ground. Which, sure, it was probably a shitty building, so whatever. They knock it to the ground. Then they hang up a sign saying that it's now going to be a Circle K. Across the street from a fucking UDF, like 200 feet away from a Walgreens.
That's a CVS, not a Walgreens.
What the fuck ever. I don't go in there hardly ever. I hate paying like $3 goddamn for a 20-ounce Coke. It's bullshit. You go... I don't know, the whole city's 2 square miles. You go a fucking mile down the road one way, there's a BP, a huge BP, like the convenience store BP.
It's actually open 24 hours, which is not a lot of stuff here.
Which is a dope-ass chicken place in there. I know you're vegetarian, you don't eat the fucking chicken. If you ate the chicken, it's pretty goddamn good. Across the corner from that is that shady as fuck Shell. There was another one. What was on the other corner?
It was a BP.
Was that the BP?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
BP moved across, took over Shell, and then resold it to Shell, and they've just been back and forth until the new BP opened.
Right now, there's a fucking Subway and a check cashing place. Things were going down the shitter. Right?
Oh, you're talking about that side? That used to be a Burger King.
Burger King. Yeah, there was a Burger King.
Yeah.
That's right. And then so there was a McDonald's, a White Castle, and a Rally's. They're still there. On the next corner. Was that was a BP.
Used to be a BP.
The
Except for
bathroom floor is still stuck to the ground in the parking lot.
Yeah, and the
It's
only
funny as
reason
hell.
that place even got torn down was because the same person that they eventually 3 years after it got torn down, they found out the guy that was robbing it. There was a guy that had went in there and robbed the place like 3 times a week, every week for 6 months, and that's why they decided to tear it down. And then they found out that the guy was like the uncle of the GM of the store.
Lovely. So the fact remains the same. We have on one block 2 gas stations, one with a large convenience store, one with a shitty tiny convenience store. You go down the road to the intersection we're talking about. There's a CVS. There used to be an IGA. Now that's up for sale. There's a UDF that does fairly good business. And now they're going to put in a fucking Circle K. First of all, fuck Circle K. Like, could you get lower on the goddamn totem pole than fucking Circle K? We just got a Family Dollar. Cricket Wireless went out of business. They left. And instead we got a fucking Boost store or something. Like, how far down the social ladder can we possibly fucking go? Now we get a fucking Circle K. We don't want and we don't fucking need. It's bullshit.
But all the boys want their 59-cent Polar Pops.
Look, Polar Pops is great, and I'm going to love the fuck out of the Polar Pops. Like, I'm going to be conflicted about drinking the Polar Pops. Like, I'm going to want cheap drinks, but I'm going to feel like shit knowing that I hate this fucking Circle K so much. But, like, you're going to tear down a city landmark. It's important to the people around here.
Anything in this city that's locally owned is still important.
Yeah, which is like 10 whole businesses at this point. So they tear it down. Fine, they're going to tear it down. Maybe they're going to put up something interesting. Hopefully somewhere to fucking eat. I don't know. We just built a brand new library. The library looks fantastic.
Which just opened 2 days ago.
The library, the old library, was butt up next to a shitty strip club.
That's not a strip club.
It's a gentleman's... What the fuck ever. It's C-section scars and 200 pounds of sad hanging off a fucking pole. It's depressing. Like, people only
There's
go there...
There's actually no pole in there.
Whatever. People go there on a drunken dare. Like, old dirty perverts hang out there. The place is probably fucking disgusting. I imagine carpet on the floor and walls.
And ceilings.
And so, like, that's what I see in my head. Like, the back of a fucking 70s van that they put carpet in, I expect that with disco ball with fucking old as shit strippers. So that was the old library. We got a new library. Great. So we're in a weird spot because we got a brand new, amazing library, but we have a Family Dollar. And here's the thing about Family Dollar. Family Dollar builds a building. They didn't annex a building. They built a structure. You go in for the first time, everything's clean. Welcome to Family Dollar. Look at all these employees we got because everybody's going to be excited about the Family Dollar. After the first 6 months, Family Dollar doesn't fucking clean anything. They never reorganize. They don't put up tags. They just stack shit on top of where old shit used to be. It's a fucking train wreck. Have you been in there?
Yeah, I go in there every day.
It's shitty. It's awful. There's shit everywhere. The older the Family Dollar, the more chaotic they are.
I was going to say, when they originally opened that Family Dollar, I thought they were closing the one down in Roselawn, but then I realized that they literally opened it so they could keep Roselawn people away from Reading people.
And instead...
No, that's literally what it is. Roselawn people go to Roselawn Family Dollar, and Reading people go to Reading Family Dollar.
Yeah, but you're trying to draw the lines between two cities and two different, like, economic groups, and now you're going to open a motherfucking Circle K?
I mean, realistically, we are in the same economic
Well,
group.
now we are. We're about to get a fucking Circle K.
I mean, I don't think Circle K is as poor as you think it is.
Dude, Circle K is shitty.
Circle K is like a Thornton's at this point. Thornton's is not poor. It's not a poor fucking gas station.
I don't know,
That's
man.
not the thing that I dislike about it. I think it's bad enough that Reading is one of the few last suburbs of Cincinnati that still has local businesses on their main street. And
It's old school.
we can say whatever we want, and yes, UDF sometimes sucks balls. But technically, they're still fucking local.
Yeah, I mean, you start a company in, what, Pleasant Ridge?
It's Norwood.
Pleasant Ridge, Norwood, back when the line was harder to draw. Fine. That's a local thing. You don't have UDFs everywhere, and but they have a specific need. You don't go into Shell because you want ice cream.
Yeah.
So UDF has a special thing. There's gas, there's overpriced convenience store bullshit, there's roller food, and the ice cream. Like, that's the thing. Some people go in there just for ice cream, which is weird because we have an ice cream place around the corner, which is seasonal, of course. But, like, so that wasn't redundant. You put a gas station there, it is, I don't know, what, like at least...
Was there anything there before UDF? Were you alive before UDF? Or has UDF always been there? Because Brandon, I've actually only lived right here in this area for going on 10 years, and Brandon's been here his whole life.
I remember, like, the week I started driving, they opened the UDF, and I remember this so vividly because gas prices were, like, up in the $2.50 range, and for 2 weeks when they opened, it was $1.99. They were saying, fuck you, we're here, and we're going to rob everybody's business. Welcome to the UDF. We're going to make customers out of you for life because this is cheap-ass gas, and you're going to get used to coming here, and I loved it. I got so much cheap gas. I honestly can't remember what was there before, but I do know that the side of it was a Quiznos, and that shit was closed in 6 months.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a fuck about
I was here
Quiznos.
for that Quiznos because I definitely loved eating at that Quiznos.
I've never even had Quiznos.
Quiznos is fantastic, and I wish they wouldn't have all shut down. The only one here in Cincinnati still is at the Florence Mall.
Which, that's not Cincinnati, and I'd never go there.
That is Cincinnati.
Close enough. Tri-state, whatever. But, yeah, I honestly don't remember what was there. But that made sense. They put it there. Now, what is now Advanced Auto Parts used to be...
CVS.
The CVS.
And then
they
bulldozed
bulldozed
rebuilt.
they bulldozed a retirement home, an old folks home,
Is
whatever.
That what that was?
A mental hospital, maybe. It was all kind of the same thing. It was just people coming in and out of there on wheelchairs all day long. They bulldozed that to put in another CVS, which I don't know that anybody really goes to. It's got to be a goddamn emergency. Like that's the kind of place.
It's been there, 5 years?
You go there because you hastily need a pregnancy test. And you don't want to drive any further. Like, that's what you buy there.
I think that's a really horrible analogy because you live in Reading and pregnancy tests are only bought at Dollar Tree.
Well, you want a good pregnancy test. The Dollar Tree one was inconclusive. Point is, the UDF made sense. Circle K is redundant. It's going to help no one. And based on a bunch of information I saw on Facebook, the people who owned the lot sold it straight to Circle K. And the community couldn't really do shit about it.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it's daytime and it's not nighttime, if it's nighttime, UDF is 24 hours. I go to UDF. If it's daytime, I support the only place in town that to me is still 100% locally owned. And honestly, I don't have any money, but if I was rich and Gert's Pony Keg needed money to stay open, I would literally give them $100,000 because it's a family that matters, it's a family that cares. And to me, that is the face of Reading, Ohio.
Yeah. Of course, it's a drive-through liquor store, but they've been open forever. The whole family runs the place.
50 years.
Yeah, it's incredible. And instead, we're going to get a fucking Circle K. You're going to directly compete with something like that. For what?
I mean, that's what Family Dollar was, just to directly compete with Gert's.
Yeah, but there's an overlap. There's an overlap and there's
Sort
a problem.
of.
You don't go to Family Dollar because you want a Gatorade. You go to Gertz's.
Yeah.
You go to Family Dollar because you need aspirin. You know, or anything that you'd find at a Family Dollar. You might need a pair of, like, kitten socks or some stupid shit that they sell in there. But trash bags, you don't go to Gert's. CVS and UDF have there's an overlap in some of their products, but they're very different places.
CVS has a pharmacy.
Exactly. You don't go, oh man, I'd really like some ice cream. They'd probably sell UDF brand ice cream in the freezer section at the CVS.
I doubt that.
No, come on, man. It's everywhere in Cincinnati.
No, it's only at Kroger's. They don't even have UDF ice cream at Walmart.
Yes, they do.
Homemade brand.
That is UDF ice cream.
Okay, but they don't have UDF brand ice cream.
Well, that's what I mean, the fucking
Walmart.
homemade.
Okay.
But there's a very narrow overlap, and it's just drinks and little bits of food. Either way, you don't want to get caught buying Oreos there because they're going to be like $8 and they've been on the shelf for like 6 years. Which, actually, I like stale Oreos, so it'd almost be worth it to pay extra for pre-stale Oreos. But you're going to put a Circle K right across the street. Like, when they reopened the BP after all that time, it was like, and there's like 2 shitty phone places on either side of it, which sucks. Cheap cell phones. Come to Reading and be poor. They got the chicken place in there. Like, and so that's not a direct overlap between them and Shell. Like, the Shell, you get gas, you get the fuck out of there. The BP, you might go in there, you get a snack, you want a fast break, whatever. You want to buy a shitty hat and some sunglasses. But Circle K and UDF, like, it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Why? Why would they even think to put it there?
Polar Pops.
Fucking Polar Pops. It's like the only thing I know about Circle K is poverty and Polar Pops and fucking Bill and Ted.
Here's the real question, because nobody's answered it yet. Who's going to be running the gas at Circle K? Because every Circle K has a different gas company. So is it going to be a BP? Or is it going to be a Marathon? Or is it going to be, what is it going to be? Is there going to be gas?
I've heard that
is
they
it
potentially
just
wouldn't.
going to be Circle K?
Yeah, it's going to be a fucking convenience store is what I've heard. That's it.
Okay, but then you're taking the overlap also from the fucking Reading Drug Mart, which those Indians are kind of crazy and they might kill people.
I've never been in there.
In the Drug Mart?
The place next to
Reading
the
Quick
feed
Stop?
mill? Oh, you're talking
Reading
about the Stop and
Quick
Rob.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, shit. I completely forgot to mention that part.
I did too.
Yeah, it's a stone's throw away from the Circle K. You got to Stop and Rob. And, okay, distinct advantages of the Stop and Rob. They probably don't ID. They're going to have really obscure shit, and they got nudie magazines, and fucking pipes, and all kinds of nefarious
But
shit.
so does that BP down on the other side of Reading, too.
They do?
They have pipes and nefarious, all types of shit.
Yeah. So what's the Circle K going to do?
I don't know.
It's going to sit
Steal.
right in the middle. Polar Pops. That's the only thing they got is the motherfucking Polar Pops.
Yeah.
God damn it, Polar Pops. Like, and like I said, it's really going to hurt my soul to go in there and be like, fuck yeah, I want less than $1 for like 3 gallons of flat soda. But, fuck, now I'm supporting this thing I hate.
I just wish we didn't live here and it wasn't Circle K and we could just get a goddamn 7-Eleven.
Fuck yes! Fuck yes, 7-Eleven. Do you know how far the nearest 7-Eleven
Columbus.
is? Motherfucking Columbus. And I went in there.
On campus.
Yeah. No, we drove through there. It's like a truck stop or some shit. It's the one we went to.
Oh, there's one on campus that's small.
So we were coming down. We were in Cleveland for a Coheed show. It was fucking dope. And we see, like, mile or two ahead, fucking 7-Eleven. Last time I had 7-Eleven was in Chicago. You cannot fucking jack off in Chicago without your shit hitting a fucking 7-Eleven. They are every 6 feet. It is fantastic. Like, it's just Slurpees all day. And the flavors are different, and every single one of them, so you never know what the fuck you're going to get. Like, you go in there, and they're like, oh, we got black cherry fucking Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Oh, we got the LeBron one in here. Oh, you know what's in here? Banana, and everything else is broke. Ooh, fucking banana. We go to this one goddamn 7-Eleven on the way down from Cleveland, stop in Columbus, just for the 7-Eleven. That's how far it is. Like, how far from us right now is
96 miles.
96 fucking miles for a goddamn Slurpee. Why the fuck can't we get a 7-Eleven?
Why the fuck did we lose Denny's? Why the fuck did we lose Hardee's?
No Hardee's. Where's the nearest Hardee's?
Miamisburg, so 36 miles.
Denny's, same story.
Walton, Kentucky, so like 64 miles.
It's fucking bullshit. Like, we got White Castle.
We
Thank God we
used
still got
to
White Castle.
never have IHOPs. I'd be okay with getting rid of IHOPs for Denny's.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, both of them give me heartburn, and neither one of them seem to know how to cook. But there's something fun about Denny's.
Yeah. I mean, there used to be a Denny's right up the street, like, by my mom and dad's house, like, right there off 275, where that El Rancho Grande is now. That used to be, that when I was growing up, that was a Denny's.
And there's a Waffle House, like, across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The motherfucking Circle K. Like, the city's going down the shitter. Like, there's no point in, like, pop punk defending this place. Like, I'm hating this town. Like, it's shit. I feel so, like, OG pop punk.
It's okay, but see, that's the thing. That's what's going to make it, I think, easier for the three of us to go in to city and be like, look, this is what we want to do with this building. We're not making any profit. We're bringing bands in. It's going to affect this one neighbor, and we'll talk to them. And, like, just
we're
going to
do something positive.
Yeah, we're just going to do something positive for the city. And, hey, it's not going to affect your bridal district, so don't worry.
Yeah. That's a great segue. I'm glad you brought that back around. because we're just bitching about Circle K.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, while we're talking about properties, oh yeah, the venue we're trying to open. You know, it was a good segue. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to wrap up here. Again, the last subject of each week will be reminding you about what's going on, more importantly, in the next couple weeks rather than so far ahead. Saturday, Time Bomb, War Crimes, Killing Session, and more at the Backstage Cafe.
Covington,
Kentucky. July 3rd is Fuck You Pay Me at the side. July 4th is Drown and Point Blank at the side. If you need directions to any of these kind of places, you can always hit me up on Facebook. And obviously follow me on Instagram at @CubertFatherTime2.
I just run my band's Instagram, so I don't have an Instagram. If you want to follow my band, that's cool. But I'm pretty quick to answer my Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. I have a Twitter. I don't use my fucking Twitter.
I don't use my Twitter either. I haven't checked it in probably like 6 months.
Yeah. So yeah.
Probably gonna. Brandon has a blog, like he said.
Fresh from the frying pan.
And I'll probably be attempting to learn the technology of starting a blog here shortly.
It seems that our cohort, our silent co-producer here, my girlfriend Michaela, has made us a Facebook page. The cover photo appears to be our fat asses sitting in my office talking shit. If you want to look us up there, that is, that's not the right name for the page. It's close. We're gonna change it.
We'll figure it out.
Look up Angry Old Dudes on Facebook. I'm sure we'll all be admins, and you can talk to us there if you'd like.
And also, obviously, we'll post some videos of new stuff that we'll be talking about either in the future or talked about today.
Yeah.
So you can agree or disagree or post something about it. And, yeah, we'll see you guys in a week, and hopefully some of you guys listen and enjoy what you hear, and you can rejoin us here in a week, and if things go the way I hope they go, maybe we'll do a couple bi-weeklies, and we'll just see where it goes. And also, feel free to send us and ask us what we think, or what band we should discuss and their best record.
Yep. As well as anything you'd like to hear us yell at each other over. If you need clarification about some old-ass band that Q name drops that no one's fucking heard of and no one fucking cares about, and they all work at Carnival Shoes and shit now, send him a message, and he will be sure to point you in the direction of their Pure Volume or Zanga, or I don't know if their music's on wire recording or old vinyl disc.
Pure Volume's still too new. I'm trying to think of what was before Pure Volume.
You wanna hook up your old like Napster account? And
I never had a Napster. I always had a LimeWire.
yeah, I was a LimeWire kid.
Yeah.
Kazaa.
Not Kazaa.
I didn't have Kazaa either.
I don't know. Support local music. Support local bands. Support touring bands. Go out there and just support. Like,
go to a show and don't be a cunt about it.
Yeah, don't sit outside after you watched your band just because you don't know who this band is. Go and check them out. At least listen to one song. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's cool, but give them a chance. And, mosh.
Yeah. We're gonna head out. I'm gonna eat some dinner, and I'm gonna
go pee before I finish peeing my pants. Bye.
And, yeah, bye.